Hi, welcome to the most important podcast ever. And this is a special episode again tonight. We have part two with our friend, Robby Incmikoski, and Robbie's book, Sacred Grounds. We covered at length last time, and we just scratched the surface, but I thought it would be so interesting, and Robbie's been kind enough to agree, to talk a little bit about the business of professional sports, and particularly the broadcast end of things, which Robbie's 16 years with a number of different teams. And Robbie, in part one of this interview, we talked about meaning, and now we're shifting to work. What was it like being inside the game for a job?
Well, first of all, thank you again for having me, Brian. I really appreciate this. And I enjoy episodes where I enjoy shows where we can really dig into stuff and have an organic conversation that is free flowing and natural. You don't get that all the time, so I'm really honored to be here. In terms of making your living as a Major League Baseball announcer, look, I'm I'm a fart in the wind when it comes to people with tenure in Major League Baseball as announcers, right? There are people who have done this for 30, 40, 50. Some have even cracked 60 years. Vince Scully did 60 years with the LA Dodgers, right? Brooklyn LA Dodgers. But it's an amazing, amazing way to make a living, but it truly is a grind. And you get your body, your mind, you're on a baseball schedule. You think about things in terms of what the schedule is, where you're going to be, what time first pitch is, what is the weather like? Are we going to be delayed? Am I going to get back to my hotel or get back to my house at 1, 2 in the morning? But all that said, there are relationships that are created in the game and memories that are made and experiences that you are able to partake in that are absolutely priceless. And I'm honored to have spent 16 years as a Major League Baseball announcer, 4 with the Twins, 11 with the Pirates, and 1 with the Texas Rangers. But I was a backup that year, so I wasn't full time. I was a backup announcer, and I enjoyed that year. But you really learn a lot about life. You learn a lot about baseball, but you also learn a lot about life. You learn a lot about work ethic. You learn a lot about dedication. Just so many different lessons you can pick up day to day. Perseverance. What's it like seeing a guy packing his bags after he's been DFA'd, right?
Yeah.
Designated for assignment. For those that don't know what that means, you're going to the minor leagues and the team has a week to trade, release, or option you to the minors. And you see what that's like. Somebody lives their dream, they get there, and 2 days later, they're getting sent back down. You really learn what toughness is when you spend day in and day out with a major league team every day for 16 years.
Yeah. So you were in several different sports, 2 different sports, 3 different sports.
Actually, so I worked all 4, but I worked for the NFL and Fox for a number of years, but never was on the air there. But I did work with the Minnesota Twins and Timberwolves full time. Sometimes, in April in the crossover, I would do, time at 12 o'clock noon game, and then the Wolves would have a 7 o'clock tip off, and I would do both games. And that was a lot of fun. I mean, it was tiring and exhausting. It was a lot of work, a lot of preparation, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. So yeah, and then I worked with the Minnesota Wild, the Arizona Coyotes. I did the pre and post game show as a backup for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Did a couple Phoenix Suns games. So I had a chance of being an announcer in baseball, basketball, and hockey, and fly on team charters for all those teams, and learn what it's like and get to know everybody. So it's been pretty cool, man. It's a wide range of experiences that you get.
How did the different cities shape how you did the work? Did it change much city to city?
Big time. Big time. When you look at Phoenix, look at the makeup of the city, right? Beautiful weather. So many things going on there. Golf, weather, restaurants, bars, nightlife, hiking. There's just so many different things you can do out there. And it's a very transient city. I don't know what it is now, but the percentage of people that live in Phoenix, percentage of people that live in Phoenix that are from there. At one point in time, it was, I think, like 20%. It was not many. And then you
Wow.
go to Minnesota, and I got there in 2009. And Brian, I bet if I said to you, give me 10 members of the 1987 Twins, you could probably do it without batting an eye, right? Well, wait, no, what year? I don't remember you got
Yeah.
there. You might not even
A
been.
100% I could do it.
Right. But
100% I could do it.
and there are so many Minnesotans who can do the same thing, right? And you
Oh,
look at
yeah.
the Pirates struggled from 1993 all the way to 2013. But do you know how many fans come up to me and said, I was at the Maz game, 1960 game 7 of the World Series. He hit the walk-off homer off Ralph Terry. I remember 71, We Are Family, or 71 Clemente, and then 79, We Are Family, Willie Stargell.
I can name the starting lineup for the whole team in 79.
Right. So, and it's not a knock on Phoenix, but when I was working with the Arizona Coyotes, there was then known as the Phoenix Coyotes, became the Arizona Coyotes, now the Utah Mammoth. But when they would play Detroit, Chicago, Toronto, Vancouver, it was 70% opposing fans because so many people are from the Midwest. So many people are from Canada and come down in the winter when it's cold. So it's not like they have like a real strong fan base. And I'm not knocking Arizona. It's a
No, of course
beautiful,
not.
gorgeous,
It's a wonderful
but
place.
simply not everybody is from there. That's all. It's out of control. It's out of the control of the teams. They don't control how many of their fans are from there.
Right.
But then
Right.
you come to Minnesota and they love the Vikings. They remember Tommy Kramer. They remember Fran Tarkenton. They remember, all the greats, Randy Moss, all the people that have come through there, Chris Carter, all these people, and they remember, the infancy stages of the Timberwolves. And you look at how many people love their Twins. They love Ken Herbeck, Rod Carew, Tony Oliva. We can go Burt Blyleven. We can go on and on and on. And
87 to 91, baby.
it's amazing. Dan Gladden is a legend there,
Oh, he is. Danny is
like,
a legend.
right. So it's like you go from place to place and you really, excuse my language, you better know your shit. If you're going to
Yep.
be not from there and be an announcer there, you better know
Yep.
the history as fast
Yep.
as you can. And I didn't have to deal with that in Arizona.
I think that's so interesting and it's so true. How do you balance the access you have to the players and the organizations with sort of a responsibility about what stories are yours to tell and not tell?
Well, I think that would depend, Brian, and I'm sure you've done obviously you're doing media now, but in your time in your previous life, uh, you know, uh, you always know more than what you see on TV. I think in large part, people know a lot more, and I think it's how you approach the job. Um, where are your values? Where are your ethics? And where do your morals stand when it comes to this? You see a lot of people these days that are into lighting themselves on fire to get, clicks or revenue or anything like that, right? But for me, here was my approach. And think about it this way, Brian. People root for who they like, right? My job was to make you, the fan, like that player, coach, or team. And that's how I approached the job every day for 16 years with all these teams. And I don't know, I just like telling stories. I like making people laugh. I like getting to know people. I love getting to know people's story. So that's kind of what made it when you get to know them a little bit, and you're like, you know what, this person might not, have the greatest reputation, but peel the layers back a little bit. They're a good human being. I mean, there were some guys who had the ass every day in baseball. And, oh, he's so miserable. He's this, he's that. Like, no, he's just a little bit intense, and that's how he approaches the game. But get to know him a little bit. So I think that's kind of what drove the way we approached broadcasting and what we did with the information that we had day in and day out.
I think that's so interesting because you have access to so much.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you can't burn the players and you can't bore the fans. And I've always thought, Robbie, being a fan of your work, that you walked that tightrope very, very well. I really thought so.
I appreciate that. It's definitely a balance, but
Yep.
you kind of, you live and learn a little bit. I'm not going to say I was perfect at it, of course, but nobody's perfect at anything
No.
except for Tom Brady at football. But other than that, nobody is. Um, but
Right,
uh,
right,
but
right.
yeah, I mean, just kind of live and learn a little bit, just like everybody does in life.
The industry is changing a lot.
Big
And
time.
have- did you feel a shift coming or
Yes.
was it, oh, you did? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, the social media changed a lot. Social media changed a lot about the business. And as you see now, you look at TV rights, and 14 of the 30 Major League Baseball teams are now being broadcast by the newly created. When I say newly, 2023 was the first year, so this is going to be year four of that at Major League Baseball, where they have a production arm, and that's where the games are being carried. Regional rights holders are becoming a thing of the past unless that team owns the network. Or, well, yeah, the team would own the network. You're talking about the Cubs, Yankees,
Yankees, Red Sox.
Red Sox,
Yeah.
all the way around. And you could look from, team to team and know it, Nationals, Orioles, owned by Masson. There's just so many, and they're the only ones that are really surviving right now. Anybody that rented rights went bankrupt. You see it with the Twins was Fox Sports North. It became Bally Sports and FanDuel Sports. They are now gone. So the business evolves, and you kind of independent media is kind of where everything is going here in 2026, and it started a couple of years back. So the business has changed immensely, and social media has just completely changed the game.
It has in a couple of interesting ways. I want to comment on the roll ups of the regionals. It resulted in fans not having access to the games for long periods of time.
Mhm.
I had a friend in Ely that lives in Ely, a dear friend. For a long time, he couldn't get any Wolves basketball
Crazy.
or unless he bought their app. And it was, you know,
It, it's
real,
it's it's the whole blackout rule, all that. We
yeah,
come to hindsight was a silly rule.
yeah,
Remember, unless a game sold out, they couldn't put it on TV. That's crazy.
yeah.
Give people access to it.
Social media, and this is particularly prevalent in the NBA, I think, and the access of satellites and cable and streaming now, of course, most importantly, people become fans of the players and move with the players. Like KD signed with the Rockets, and I am now a devoted Rockets fan. And we got all the KD fans that follow him from stop to stop to stop. It's such an interesting dynamic, but it really is a sad day, I think, that the regional uh, players have become a thing of the past or are becoming a thing of the past.
I think we're pretty much there. I know there are still, in the NHL and the NBA, you still have it. And baseball is the most true regional sport because you got 162 games. I mean, they don't do all 162 because you have national broadcast, that kind of thing. But
Sure.
I mean, in a 6 month span, they're doing 150 games in 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fans are relying on that. And Major League Baseball, this is my personal opinion. I don't think they'll ever not allow games to be televised, simply because there are so many fans out there, and it's not like everybody's consuming it on their phone.
It's such a sit on the back deck, have the TV on, have a Liney's, well, have whatever it is you have, and just kick back and appreciate life a little bit. It's
It's
that
amazing.
kind of moment.
That's
Um,
I couldn't agree more.
so as you've left that arena, what's been the hardest thing to let go of?
Man, that's such a great question, Brian. And it's there's so many ways you can go with this. I think the biggest thing, and this is just for me personally, and I know other people have experienced this in the business, is first of all, I'm always a firm believer that if you do the right thing day in and day out, that you will get treated accordingly. Now, obviously, life doesn't always happen that way in every facet, no matter what people do, no matter what your business is. The biggest thing to let go of is realizing that camaraderie that we had in baseball, in basketball, in hockey is there are priceless relationships, and knowing that you're not going to see these people day in and day out anymore. That's the biggest thing I miss. I don't miss a lot of the BS that's associated with it. I don't miss a team president or some executive sensitive about something when I'm out here trying to do the right thing.
Right.
That's the stuff
Right.
I don't miss one bit. Oh, watch how you phrase this. You don't want to open them. I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to roll anybody under the bus here, right?
Right. Right.
But I do miss the genuine relationships that you meet with players, parents, and kids. You watch their kids grow up. I mean, Josh Harrison is a two-time All-Star. He had his daughter in 2014, Mia, February 2014. She's about to be 12 years old. And every year, Mia and I took a picture at spring training. And Josh's wife has pictures, like 7 or 8 pictures of us from her first 7 years of her life, somewhere around there, of her holding the microphone, standing with me. And that, like, those are just cool moments that you can't replicate. That is what's hard to let go of, to be honest with you.
That's so awesome. And it very much parallels what you hear retired players say. Our friend Jim Peterson, Daryl Thompson, who played for the Gophers and the Packers. Daryl told me one time, point blank, what do you miss? He said, I don't miss the Monday mornings when my body's all beat up. I miss the camaraderie of the locker room and the camaraderie of game day in the huddle.
That's
I
it.
miss that. And that's kind of what you're saying.
Think about, there's only a small percentage of people that do this in the world, that live that schedule. They know that grind. They live that life.
Right.
That is what creates those special relationships with people, is the ability to send a message to a coworker who's in the 11th inning of a game and it's freezing cold and it's midnight because you had a 2-hour rain delay,
Right.
and it's like,
Right.
hey, I've lived it. I lived it and I feel your pain right now. That's what I miss doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Robbie, you're a young man, you're a talented man. You're nearly as talented as you think you are.
Well, yeah, I
I'm
wish I
kidding.
had.
I'm kidding.
How
You
these
really
guys.
are. You're young, you're smart, you're talented. So what's
50 years
next?
old, brother. That's not young and not in our business.
Well, I'm closing in on 66. That is young. So tell me, what's next?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. It's truly at 50 what most would consider a midlife transition. It really
Right.
is. And what I mean by that is you spend so much time pursuing a career. And for me, it began in 2000, full-time 2002. When you do it for me, it was 22 seasons, working my first job at the NFL on Fox. I was a spotter for Pat Summerall for 1 year in 2002, the year after he and John Madden parted ways. Right. And you look back at those experiences, you think, man, that's where I learned what it's like being around one of the greats, walking around with football royalty every day
All
for a year,
timer. All timer.
bunch of different football stadiums. Amazing. Um, and then all I wanted to do was be a sports announcer. I wanted to do hockey. I wanted to do baseball. I wanted to do it all. I wanted to do every sport, but baseball and hockey are my two favorite sports. And I ended up being an announcer in the NBA for almost 3 full seasons and parts of a fourth when I moved to Pittsburgh to the winter of 2012. But, um, I think, a lot of these skills translate, Brian. A lot of people go into real estate. That's not my thing. I don't want to pursue that. But I think communications, radio, podcasting, that kind of thing would be a lot of fun. So if any of your big shot friends need someone in communications, would love to talk to them about it. But I got this book, Sacred Grounds. We're going to kind of follow this through. We've been off to a really good start so far with it. But it's really about betting on yourself. There you go, baby. And I love those tabs you have right there, Brian. I know you're doing your homework. And
Robbie, I love this book. I love this book.
You learn to bet in yourself. Can I dig a little deep for just a second?
Please.
My departure from the Pirates sucked. And that really stuck up my ass. And I apologize for the language I'm using. I'm speaking from the heart. I did not control my departure. So you had a team that wanted you to stay there in the job. You had a network that came in and said, this guy's gone. And you have an executive that is deciding your career and didn't even have the balls to tell you he was deciding your future, right? So something about that sticks with you. And I took some time after I cooled off and I said, you know what? I have all these relationships that I spent 16 years creating. Now I got two options. I can be bitter. I could scream, yell, bitch, and complain about it, or I could do something about it. So I elected to drain my bank account and write this book, Sacred Grounds. I could have sat on my ass for a year and did nothing. Yep. And we're really proud of what we produced. But the one thing that taught me was that I did it the right way. And I don't mean to make this about me, but I want other people who may see this and suffered a similar fate to realize something. Because you see it now with sports writers. You see it with people in media in various positions as the media sphere evolves. People have job cuts, local media. People are working their tails off nights and weekends and not even making $75,000 a year, which is crazy for the revenue that these networks bring in. Okay. And I thought, I can't just leave that way. So I thought, I know I did the right thing. Out of my heart, I did the right thing. So I ended up calling a lot of people that I know around the game. And I said, I just want to tell some stories. And the biggest amount of pride that I took in producing this, Brian, was how many people said to me, it's not a ton, because there are people that blew me off that I asked to be in the book and they did not get back to me. That's just the truth. And you never bet 1,000 in media. And anybody that is an announcer on TV or reporter, they're a fool if they tell you they bat 1,000, because nobody does. Absolutely no one does. No one. Literally 0%. Right? But to have 120 people in this book, I took as a real compliment. And there were certain people, probably about 7 or 8, that said, I got to tell you something, man. If this was anybody else, this is a hell no. But because it's you, I'm in, right? And I took that as a real compliment because I treated people right for that amount of time. And I went about the job the right way and treated people with respect and tried to help the younger generation as much as I could. And I teach a class to this day at Point Park University in downtown Pittsburgh, an intro to sports broadcasting class to help kids. And we're 3 weeks in and I got kids texting me at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night because they're worried about a broadcast they're going to do the next day. Right. So that is a true way to give back. But for myself, it was a motivator when you don't control your departure and it just sticks with you when it ends the way it ends. And I thought I did the right thing. And I would encourage anyone out there that this has happened to, if you do the right thing, to gamble on yourself. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to say I won because I didn't win yet. We're off to a good start. Didn't win yet, but we're off to a good start. And I highly recommend everybody else do it.
And your job doesn't define you. The person
it's
you
what I did
are
for a living.
defines you, Robbie. That's exactly
Right.
right. That's exactly right. I think you would be a great addition to any communications team, to any PR team. I mean it, Robbie.
I might make a few people nervous. I got a mouth on me, brother.
Well, you got a mouth on you, but if it's in service of what you believe, you're fantastic. And you know what? You need to do a pod because you've got stories and you've got people and you've got a fantastic way about you, Robbie.
Yeah, we're going to, and I appreciate that very much, my friend. Thank you.
I'm going to come to Pittsburgh because I want to go to Mario's. You golf out there? Do you golf out there, Robbie?
Well, there is golf here. I don't play golf because I'm not good at it, but I've got enough people with the Pirates I'm going to send you with that love golf, and they would love to have you go tour the course with them.
Well, let's figure that out. I want to again plug my absolute favorite book right now, Sacred Grounds. I want to thank my good friend Robby Incmikoski.
Nailed it.
Did I get it?
Nailed it.
How many years have I known you? And I also want to tell you I admire you and your journey. And please keep in touch with us. And maybe we could bend your arm when the season gets late and we could talk a little ball in the fall.
I can't wait to do it, brother. I can't wait.
All right. Robbie, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your story. And I wish you all the best, brother.
Brian, I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much, my friend.
And I want to thank you, our audience, for tuning in, catching part 2 of this with Robbie. You can catch us on our YouTube channel, and you can get us wherever you get your podcasts. And please subscribe. It's free and it helps me out. Have a
Subscribe.
great week. That's right. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.